Hello and welcome to the Online Course Creator Show. It's Lou Blakely here, your host, and this is the podcast to listen to if you want to create an online course in your business and turn it into an income generating machine. So welcome back to the podcast. If you've listened to this before, you'll know that I've taken a little bit of a break over the last few months. I have been away for half of that time. I was in Bali and I went over there with my family, and then I went to a yoga retreat for about, I think it was 5 nights. Yeah, something like that. And before I left, I had all of these great intentions to record all these episodes, and it just didn't happen with the crazy lead up to a holiday. I feel like getting ready for a holiday is so full on just getting everything done that this slipped by the wayside, which is not ideal. However, here we are. And I have seen that a lot of you have been listening to the older episodes, which is amazing. And that is actually what I love about podcasting and creating this longer form content, is that, you know, people are still listening to my podcast episodes from 2 years ago, and that does not happen on social media. So that is a real plug for podcasting and why I think it's so good for your business, right? So here we are, and I also have a new microphone, which is another reason why it's taken me a little while to get back into the mode of things. So when I started this podcast, I bought a microphone that was, I think it was a condenser. And over time, I did a bit more research and found out that actually for podcasting, especially solo episodes, the best one type of microphone is a dynamic microphone. So I have gone ahead and bought myself a birthday present for my business, which is a new mic. So here we are. Hopefully it goes all well today. I'm not a sound engineer, and to be honest, this is one area of my business that I wish I had someone to just come and set everything up for me, but it's also not really worth it. But I've bought a microphone that should be pretty easy to use. So here we go. If there's any issues today with the sound, I apologize. However, I've given this a few test runs, and yeah, I'm thinking that there shouldn't be, but bear with me if there is. So before I headed off to Bali, I actually went down to the Gold Coast. I live in Brisbane in Australia, and drove down to the Gold Coast, which is a couple of hours away, because Kajabi, which is a US-based software company, they were holding their first ever Australia conference. So I absolutely had to go. Now, if you haven't heard of Kajabi, it is a software tool that is specifically created for course creators. So it's very much what you need if you are going to set up and run education-based content in your business. So that's like online courses, digital products, memberships, that kind of thing. Kajabi has all of the tools for you to be able to make money from your course and also be able to create a really good user experience for your students. And that is actually, to me, the huge advantage of Kajabi compared to other software tools. So if you haven't heard of Kajabi before, it's actually spelled Kajabi. And as I said, it's based in the US. It is a very well-known software. And when they said that they were coming to Australia, I literally jumped online and purchased my ticket straight away. It was at the QT Hotel in the Gold Coast, and it was a really good 2 days. And I thought, you know, over the course of this 2 days, that there's so much that I learned, that I took away from this event, that I want to share with my community, because I know that not everyone could make it. They actually only announced the conference, I think maybe even less than a month before it actually happened. So I know a lot of people couldn't go because of that. I don't think they promoted it in New Zealand either. They just invited Australian creators. And yeah, so I know lots of people couldn't go. I was actually thinking of flying to LA to go to the big main Kajabi conference, which has actually just been in the last few days. I'm recording this at the end of October, and it's just finished. So that was, I think, 3 days, maybe 4 days in LA. I was considering going to that. But when I saw that they were bringing this conference to Australia, I decided, no, I'm just going to go to this, and that should be enough. Because as you know, it's a huge effort. Well, maybe you don't know, depending on where you're listening from. But for me to fly to LA from Brisbane is about 14 hours. So it's a bit of a hike. So I was stoked when I saw that they were coming to me instead. Now, before I dive into the learnings that I took away from this, I want to share that Kajabi are actually about to run, and are probably running this when you listen to this. They're running the biggest promotion that I have seen them run since I have been a customer of theirs and since I have been a Kajabi partner. So the deal is that if you sign up for Kajabi as a new customer, so if you're already using Kajabi, sorry, but this one is not for you. But if you are considering Kajabi, now is the time to jump in. And the reason for that is because they are offering a massive 50% off your subscription for the next 12 months. As I said, that I've never seen them do a promotion like this. It is an incredibly good deal, and I'm kind of jealous of the people that get to take advantage of this deal. So the promotion starts at 9 a.m. October 31st, Pacific Standard Time. So as I said before, if you are listening to this, it's probably already live. And that is actually the middle of the night for where I am. So it's 2 a.m. my time, it'll be 5 a.m. New Zealand time, and so on and so forth. So that is on November the 1st. If you are on the southern side of the world in Australia or New Zealand, that's 2 a.m. my time on November the 1st. But it is October 31st at 9 a.m. if you are in the US in Pacific Standard Time. And this offer runs to the 11th of November at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the offer is only available for a reasonably short time. So if you are thinking about Kajabi, absolutely act quickly. As a Kajabi partner, I also have a special bonus for you if you do sign up for this offer. So that is that you get a one-on-one 45-minute strategy session with me where we actually create your strategy that is going to get you making money from Kajabi as soon as possible. And I'm not diving into the software in this bonus call. And the reason for that is because Kajabi is really, really good at offering you support, creating documents about how to use their software, all of that kind of thing. The thing that they do not provide is strategy. So we are going to do a 45-minute session where we create your strategy in terms of growing your course sales and getting you making money as soon as you can. So if you want to take me up on that offer, then I recommend that you head over to my website, because when this offer opens and I have my link, I'm going to be adding to my website right up the top that you can just click a link there and you'll be taken to the sign up page. You could also go to loublakely.com/Kajabi and that will take you to the right place as well. Now with this offer, there is no trial. You have to sign up straight away and get going. But if you are committed to making money from online courses, then it's not even worth second guessing as far as I'm concerned. Like, this is the best software out there when it comes to creating your online course. And I definitely recommend that you jump on this, because obviously once the offer's over, the price is going to go back up to what it was, which is double what you could possibly get it for your first 12 months. Incredible deal. So jump on that, go to my website at loublakely.com or go to loublakely.com/Kajabi. I definitely recommend that you jump on this amazing offer while it's here, because it won't be coming back. Like I said, I've been using Kajabi for years now and I've never seen this promotion. So they've also rebranded, and I think that this promotion is part of that rebrand for them to get massive exposure and awareness, all of that kind of thing for their new marketing push that they're doing themselves. So I don't believe that this deal is going to come back potentially ever. So jump on it while you can. One thing I do want to mention to you around this offer is that you need to sign up to the plan of where you want to be in the next 12 months rather than going for the lowest plan. So their Kickstarter plan is really great if you're just getting started. And if you want to check out all of these plans, just go to the Kajabi website and look at all the pricing options. So there's 4 plans that you can choose from. I do recommend that you look at this from where you want to be in the next 12 months. So I would imagine that most of you, the growth plan is actually going to be the best one for you, especially because you're going to be getting at half price for the first 12 months. Because what's going to happen if you sign up for the lowest plan and just think you'll grow from there, unfortunately, if you're going to upgrade within the next 12 months, you're going to lose your 50% discount. So sign up for the one that is going to see you grow as much as you can over the next 12 months. For most of you, that is going to be the growth. For some of you, it may be the basic, just depends on your circumstances. Go and have a look and decide which one's for you. And when the promotion opens, I'm even going to drop a link below this podcast so you can literally go down to the description and click on the link. And if you sign up via that link, you'll also get that 45-minute strategy session with me. And that's a one-on-one private call worth $3.95. So it's definitely worth your while to jump on that as well. So with that, it's time to dive into my takeaways and learnings and what I want to share from going to the Kajabi Sessions Australia conference. So this was a 2-day event. It was for people who are already using their software. So everyone there is already using Kajabi, right? Which meant that it was a really good, productive, it moved really quickly and it was very specific to what we do, right, in this industry. There were around 75 people there. So for a conference, reasonably small, but actually a really good number, I thought. So the Kajabi staff flew in from the USA to run it. I think they're based in Orange County somewhere. I'm not sure, but that kind of Los Angeles, Southern California area. So they flew in to run it. Although I did notice that a couple of their staff were actually based in Australia, which I thought was really cool, and they work remotely. So there was one girl there who spoke about the community, and she was based in Byron Bay. So she was American though. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. So they do have some people working remotely around the world for them, which I did not know, which I love. I love that, work from wherever. Before I started my own business, I actually used to work in the tech industry and the software industry myself, and we all worked remotely way back before the pandemic made it popular. So definitely a huge fan of that, and I love to see it. And yeah, I chose to go because I was thinking about going to the US. This meant that I didn't have to, and it meant that I could network with other people that use Kajabi and learn from the Kajabi team themselves, which is exactly why I wanted to go. Some of the speakers, most of the speakers I'd actually heard before. So I would say the biggest pull for me was to actually get in a room with other course creators and hear about what people were doing and all of that amazing stuff. So the thing that I absolutely loved about the conference was that I got to step into a world for 2 days that was just course creators. And I think that is invaluable. And I really want to urge you, if you get that opportunity as a course creator yourself, absolutely take it, because I feel like in everyday life, when we're going about our days, when we're doing things outside of our business, when we're not in our office, most of the world has no clue that you can even make money from online courses. And I don't know, I've been doing this for a long time, and when I tell people what I do, they just looked at me completely confused and asked me questions like, can you actually make money from that? Like, there is a real lack of knowledge, I would say, but also a degree of skepticism about what we do. And if you are not connected to other business owners who are creating courses, then I think this could be a really lonely existence, especially because most of us work from home. We get that ability to work from wherever we want in the world because of this business model, which is absolutely one of my favorite things about it, potentially even my favorite thing. Yet, most of the world doesn't know it exists. So I highly recommend to get in the room with other course creators whenever you can, whether that be even online, like online networking with other course creators. Get into coaching programs where everyone else around you is a course creator and has that same vision, same goals, same problems, same issues, all of that kind of stuff, because that is where you really can see that there's other people having great success doing this, which I actually think was a really big takeaway for me as well, was some of the success stories in that room were so inspiring to me. And I came away with a fire in my belly to really take my own business to the next level. And also, as I mentioned before, there is a degree of skepticism from others around this business model. And sometimes that can creep into ourselves as well. So just seeing success stories around you and actually meeting these people and talking to these people is invaluable. So there was a real mix of levels of kind of like achievement levels, I guess, about where people were in their journey as course creators. Like there were people there who'd signed up to Kajabi who were very much just starting out and were looking at this from a completely like blank canvas, whereas there were other people who were very established and some people who had done incredibly well in a very short period of time. So this episode, I really want to compress, I don't know if that's the right word. I really want to give you my biggest learnings rather than talking about it and sharing every single thing, every single detail behind the conference, because honestly, the big learnings, what I took away from it are the things I think that you're going to want to hear, and all the details. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. So I wrote a list of the biggest learnings for me, of the takeaways, okay? So the first thing I wrote on this list is that I really noticed over this 2-day period, based on the questions that people were asking of Kajabi, of the keynote speakers, of the panels, that everyone is looking for the special thing, the secret sauce to get to the next level, almost like the cheat code or the hack. And I noticed this repeatedly, is that people were standing up and saying, how did you do this? How did you achieve like making multiple $1 million a year? One of the keynote speakers was Denise Duffield-Thomas. I can't remember what her yearly annual revenue from courses is, but it is, I don't even know if she told us actually, but it's like multiple millions per year. And, some of the questions that people were asking her was, what got you there? What was the secret thing that you did to achieve that? And, people also asking Kajabi this, it's kind of like we all want it to happen tomorrow. And the repeated answer was doing the work that you want to avoid, keep showing up, be consistent, even when you don't want to be, and also having a great product and a great niche. They were the only answers that they gave as their secrets to success, right? So there was no quick hacks. There was no like cheat codes. It's really the stuff that we all wish that we didn't have to do. Like launching, right? There was a lot of talk about launching over the 2 days. And some people didn't even know what launching was. And, the keynote speakers, they spoke a lot about launching. And as I've always said on this podcast, launching is the key to making a sizable amount of sales from your online course, rather than just putting it out there and hoping people will buy it. That is a very, very, very slow way to grow an online course. So launching is definitely, I guess when you think about it, that could almost be the cheat code is launching. But, launching requires effort. It requires us to show up. It requires us to get visible. And the repeated message was that you absolutely can't avoid doing the hard things. And that is really what is going to help you really grow with this type of business. And dare I say it, any type of business, even if you're not in business, even if you're in a corporate job, like you cannot avoid the hard. But I feel like online, there's a lot of talk about it being easy and flowy and all of that stuff, and it absolutely can be, but you have to build the foundations and be prepared to keep iterating, keep improving, keep showing up more and more and more as you grow as well. It's not like a one-off situation. And as I'm saying this, it actually makes me think about a podcast episode that I recorded not too long ago, which is episode 77, which is the 9 steps to make 100K from your online course in 1 year. Like a lot of people put way too much emphasis on the first launch and then take the results from that as whether this is worth it or not, either bail at that point or keep moving forward, maybe do a couple more launches and then it peters out a little bit. But really, you need to get past that phase. And I recommend aiming for 100K in 1 year as an additional revenue stream over and above what you're currently doing in your business. So go and listen to that episode if you want the ins and outs of how to actually do this. I will link it below for you as well. Now, the next thing, which is a completely perfect follow-on from that, is there was a general consensus in the room that your first launch is going to suck. And you just have to get it done. You have to get it out there. You have to remove your emotion from it and just do the thing. Get it out there. Do that work. Like there is a lot of work in your first launch, but you get to reap the benefits of that after the first launch is done. There's so much content that you've created that you can reuse, especially like your sales page, your checkout page, all of that stuff you create once, and then from then on, you either just reuse it or you can improve it, tweak it, but you never have to do that work again. So the general consensus is your first launch is the biggest barrier to your success. If you are not doing your first launch, then the success that you dream of as an online course creator is actually never going to come. And if this is you, you still haven't done your first launch, but you know you want to, you know it's the thing that you need to get done in order to get to the other side to really start to grow and get the benefits, then I highly recommend that you jump on the Moneymakers waitlist, because I will be launching that in November and we will be starting that in December. So head over to loublakely.com/waitlist and you can join that to be the first to know when that actually launches. And, as I said, you just have to get through that first launch. That doesn't mean doing a crappy first launch. I mean, definitely it does not need to be perfect, but a launch is not just putting it out on social media and sending a few emails. Okay, a launch is actually following a launch strategy, and that's exactly what I teach in Moneymakers. So next takeaway is get that first launch out of the way and get it done. There was also a real consensus from all of the speakers, all of Kajabi, that literally you just need to do the thing, like stop talking about it and start taking action. That is definitely it was a key theme. And one of the keynote speakers also actually said the hardest point in your course creation business is going to be, I think she said from 80K to 250 a year. And you need to do whatever you can to sprint through that phase as fast as possible. And again, that comes back to just moving faster and taking the action. And if you're scared of something, just do it. Like really, once we take the action is like the antidote to the fear. If we're scared of something, which often shows up as procrastinating, self-sabotage, all of that kind of thing, there's an underlying fear there. But if we just take the action and move through it, then we're going to get to the other side and things are going to be a lot better. Now, another learning, and I thought this was really interesting, this came about because a guy stood up and said, so we see, as an Australian living in Australia, we see all of this success with Kajabi creators and online course creators up in the USA specifically. And, we see course creators doing so well up there, and, we're at a disadvantage in countries like Australia and New Zealand because we're so removed from the market, etc. And what his question was, like, what can you share with us that will help us down in this part of the world? And the guy who he asked this question of, I don't actually know, I can't remember who he was, but I think he may have been in the legal/data part of Kajabi. And his response was, you absolutely are not at a disadvantage from being in Australia or New Zealand at all. He says that is not true. And we see all of the data, all of the information going through Kajabi in terms of sales. And he said that some of the top creators in the world are in Australia. And this will bring me to my next point, but there were some people in that room who were making a significant income, like multi-seven figures a year through Kajabi, and they were based in Australia. I actually think he said that the highest income creator on Kajabi is Australian. So I thought that was really interesting. He wouldn't share with us who it was because everyone was trying to make him say who it was, and he wouldn't share that, obviously, for privacy reasons. But I thought that was really interesting, and he just really shut down that whole perception. I know a lot of us in Australia and New Zealand have that perception, but at the end of the day, we're working online. It doesn't really matter where we're from, and sometimes I think those ideas are there as a limitation that serve us because it keeps us small, right? But I found that really interesting, so I really wanted to share that with you because I know a lot of you listening to this are based in Australia and New Zealand, and changing your mindset around that could be the thing that completely changes your business. Now, another question that was asked of the same guy was, knowing what you know about who makes the most money on Kajabi, what do you see as the difference of the ones who are doing very, very well versus the ones who aren't making much money at all? And his answer was authenticity and having a mission bigger than themselves were the biggest differentiators when it came to the people who were making significant income from this, which I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to share that with you as well. So the two things he said, authenticity and having a mission bigger than themselves, bigger than the money they're creating, like the impact that they want to make, and showing up and sharing from that place, and showing up and sharing from a level of authenticity as well. So definitely, I think if you can think about what is your mission, and are you sharing that with your people, and are you being authentic to yourself, or are you showing up and trying to be someone else and trying to fit in? So yeah, I thought that was really interesting as well. And the final learning that I want to share with you is based on these top sales awards that they gave right at the very end of the conference. And they gave 2 of these out. And they were for people in that room who had made a huge amount of sales. And he made a real point of saying that when he gave these awards out, that these just weren't highest earners in Australia or in the room. They were actually some of the highest earners globally. So they got this recognition for the sales that they're putting through Kajabi, that they're making through Kajabi. And he called out these 2 women, and they got their awards. And I think the whole room at that point was like, wow, because these 2 people, they're lovely. Like, I'd been speaking to both of them at different points throughout the conference at this point. They were so humble. They were people I had never heard of before. They weren't influencers at all. They're not internet famous, yet there were heaps of other people in that room who I'd heard of, right? Never heard of these people, and they were the 2 people that got the award for top sales globally. And it really struck me. I mean, this just really struck me, to be honest, because we think so much that you have to be super famous and well-known in order to hit those type of revenue numbers. And these people, for context, multi-seven figures per year, right? And another thing, they weren't in their 20s or 30s. I don't know how old they were. I don't really want to say this, but I feel like they were probably both over 50, which may come as a shock to you because I feel like there's a real perception online, like having hit 40 in the last few years myself. I know that at times I'm like, do I really want to be on the internet as a over 40-year-old woman? And aging on the internet as is something that, do we really want to do it? But yet I feel like at times that the younger people have an advantage just for being young. And I know that when I started online, I was in my early 30s and I 100% benefited from that advantage. So I feel like potentially my judgment may be clouded by that because I was a lot younger when I started online and I think it was a definite advantage. But the point I'm trying to make is that you absolutely do not have to fit into a certain context of what you think it means to be successful online in order to make a really, really solid revenue from this type of business. The things that these people did have, though, were a very clearly defined niche. That was definitely, when I looked at their businesses and what they do, they are catering to a very defined group of people. I wouldn't say they're not small niches, but they're not huge either, but they're very well defined. And they're not catering to everyone. And there's a ton of people that would never buy their products. Like I personally would not have a need for either of their products at this point. Potentially one of them if I was older, but right now I definitely don't have a need for either of their products. But clearly there are a lot of people that also need their products based on the annual revenue that they are making. And one of these women, over the course of the 2 days, she stood up and spoke a couple of times just in terms of like asking questions and sharing her piece of knowledge. And one thing that she did share multiple times was to put your prices up. So that's something that she'd obviously overcome. And I would say her niche is definitely a market where it would be premium pricing based on what she is teaching. But I think that's a really good piece of advice for all of us. Like our courses and our knowledge that we're putting inside these courses, especially if we're creating signature online courses and group coaching programs, we can, for most of us, put our prices up and it still be very, very, very well worth it for our customers. I also noticed one of these women who won the sales award, when you saw her at lunch and during the actual conference, she always had a notebook in her hand, and if you said something that she thought was valuable, she'd write it down, which I thought was really cool because that's a real like beginner mindset. Like, I'm here to learn. I don't know it all. I'm going to learn from others around me, and I'm going to learn from the people that are putting on the conference, and I'm going to write it all down so I can go and look it up later, which I thought was really cool. And there weren't many people doing that. And then to see her actually be recognized as one of the top earners in the room, actually it blew my mind in a way that she's still showing up with that beginner mindset. And I think there's a lot of people when it comes to online that they learn something, they sign up for a course or something, and when they watch a lesson, or it could even be that you're watching like Instagram Reels or something like that, you think, I know that already. And then that's not valuable to me because I already know it. But the reality is that you don't already know it if you haven't actually done it. So are you saying to yourself, I already know that, I don't need to learn that, when you actually haven't actioned it and you haven't done it? Because in my opinion, until you've actually done something, taken the action and walked through it, you don't actually know it. You think you know it, but you don't. So that was really interesting as well. And I actually think these two women winning the sales award was probably the biggest learning for me around the fact that they weren't famous. I hadn't heard of them and they had really defined niches. And they were the ones that were seeing the most annual revenue come through their Kajabi account. So I wanted to share that takeaway with you as well. So that is a wrap. That's my summary of my biggest takeaways, my recap from Kajabi Sessions Australia. If you have the opportunity to get around a bunch of course creators, then I highly recommend that you do it. I think it's so good for your confidence, for your mental health, for your ability to realize and recognize that there are lots of people who are making a very good living out of this business model, and get away from that maybe skepticism and cynicism that you see in the general public, like maybe it's at school. If you're, dropping your kids off to school and you're telling other mums what you do, or maybe it's in your family or your extended family where people are saying, is that even really a thing? So get around other course creators, because those conversations don't even happen. They're not even on the radar, because people are just cracking on with actually seeing success, creating success in your business. So Kajabi, they did say that they are going to come back next year. They hope to. Anyway, they weren't making any promises, but I would highly recommend going to it next year if they do run it again. I thought it was a really well-run event. It was very affordable for the 2 days for everything that they shared, and the facilities were great. The hotel that they ran it in was great. Everything was really top-notch. I personally would also love to go to the US one, and I am putting it on my bucket list for next year. I'd really like to aim for that. However, I highly recommend you go to any event where you can get around like-minded people who are on the same path as you and achieving success, or working towards achieving success as an online course creator. I just cannot emphasize how great I felt after this event and how inspired I was being in a room of people and hearing their wins and being able to contribute my knowledge as well. It was really good. So make sure you get involved in anything around you like this. And just before I head off, I wanted to remind you about the amazing 50% offer that Kajabi is running. By the time you listen to this, it probably will be live. And as I mentioned before, if you sign up through my link, you get that 45-minute strategy session where we dive into your strategy and make a plan for you to get up and running and making money from your online course as soon as possible. So to find out more information about that, you will need to go to my website first, and then that will take you to the sign up in Kajabi. So head over to loublakely.com. There will be something on the homepage that will direct you to the right place, or you can go to loublakely.com/Kajabi. And just to recap on that offer, it's 50% off for 12 months. And I personally don't think that Kajabi will be running this special again, or at least for a long time, because they've just done that rebrand. They are very much in growth mode at the moment, which means they want to run a big promotion like this right now. So get on it. And if you have had a Kajabi account before and you've cancelled it, then I recommend signing up when you do sign up for this offer to sign up with a different email address than what you used in the past. Otherwise, you're not going to get the deal because you won't be considered a new customer. And as I said before, there is no free trial with this offer. You just purchase. So choose the right plan that's going to see you grow over the next 12 months rather than just going for the lowest one. And you get 50% off for the first 12 months, which is freaking amazing. So hop on that, go over to loublakely.com and check it out. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I think the microphone went pretty well. I actually think it's better. It's actually way easier for me to talk into than the last one, which makes me happy. And yeah, stay tuned. There'll be more episodes coming out soon. So I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening. Bye.